Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of What the Ref. I'm Lyndsey.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Simon.
Today we have a special episode and we're talking all about the Hidden Ref Competition 2026 because I can now declare it open. We have a new face and voice for you guys today. You've heard him say his name, but Michael, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure thing. So my name is Michael Donnay. I'm a community manager at the University of Southampton, and I also work for the Software Sustainability Institute with Lyndsey and Simon. I spend a lot of time working with research software engineers to help them connect and share their work, but I also come from a background in history and digital humanities, so pretty broad set of disciplinary experience, and excited to be with the Hidden Ref to help everyone kind of shape, their experiences wherever they're based.
Lovely. We're very happy to have you. Hopefully it won't be the first and last time. And we've dumped Michael straight into the deep end as he's pretty much taking over hosting today's episode. So I will hand the mic over to him.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here and get a chance to grill you guys for a change. So we're talking about the competition today, which in many ways feels like the flagship thing that the Hidden Ref campaign does. So I'm sure you guys are great at talking about it, but we're here to share some more details with folks so they can know what's coming at them. So maybe the best place to start is talking a little bit about why. Lyndsey, can you tell us sort of why we run the competition and why it came about?
I love these questions because it kind of gives you a minute to step back. You keep doing a thing and you iterate it, you change it, you do all this great stuff, keep the momentum going, but you're like, hang on, why are we doing this thing? Basically, the way I see it is that it's a way for us to celebrate all of those hidden contributions and roles that make research excellent, but we find that they often go unnoticed. And the way we do that is by highlighting the outputs and the roles in research. We also use it as evidence gathering, just to kind of collect those metrics and numbers, how many outputs and which types of roles are vital to research but are being overlooked. And then we want to give institutions more confidence in submitting those types of outputs and roles to the ref. As for how it came about, Simon, you were the main man back in the day.
All right, and you suddenly go into Scottish mode when you how it came about. It came about literally because we were just trying to work out what could we do to raise recognition of people that I kept coming across were in these roles which were vital but unrecognised. And I thought, let's run a competition, not a competition. And what could it be about? Well, it'd have to be about the kind of work they were doing, the kind of people who were, the kind of roles that they were in, and that's where it came. That's where it started. But the thing was, it was meant to be a one-off. So that was 2020, and now then it got stretched into 2021 because of the pandemic and all that sort of stuff. But now we're in 2026, and this is going to be the third competition. I mean, that's kind of interesting that we're in that situation already. And it's changed. And we've still got this sort of focus on the hidden roles and the hidden outputs. But this time, because we're trying to align with the ref and because we're trying to give people time to practice submitting not traditionally submitted outputs to the ref, we are also seeing the competition this time as you can practice it. If you're working on something that you would like to go to the ref, why not submit it to the Hidden Ref competition, have it assessed, go through the, why imagining a reasonably annoying process of having to write it all up and explain how it was, how it was significant and rigorous and all that, right? So you can actually use the competition as that practice run. And I think that's a really interesting way of an interesting change to the way that we're running the competition this year. There's a lot more work for us, but it makes it a lot more of a practical thing as well as just raising recognition.
And I think what's obvious there is the kind of why we're running the competition has changed over the years. We ran it for one reason the first time, and then I think it started the campaign, and we're always changing it and using it for different things. And there's been a whole lot of different people involved each time with running it, which is fantastic. So that's what is needed. And Michael here has also been roped into helping. What is your role? Remind me this year, Michael?
Yes. So I'm helping do the communications this year. So getting out the good word about the competition, how people can get involved, answering any questions they might have, and getting to do things like this, where I come on and I chat with people about the competition and what they might get out of it.
I like that's good evangelical zeal, getting the good word out. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we certainly need more of. More of. One of the things I'll go and say is we're talking about the competition, and I know we're talking about deadlines and all that stuff later on, but like we should actually say when it opens and when it closes, just this early on in the episode, so people know.
Go for it. So it opens today, which is Tuesday, 26th of May, isn't it? Today?
That's it's not today, but it's when the episode will come out, definitely.
People don't know how this works. Yeah, literally. It is open for your submissions today. We realise that today is the same day that we've actually announced the final categories and the submission rules, so I don't expect we're going to get anyone putting anything in on the first day. But
you don't know.
Well, we
there
never
might be
know.
Thousands of people lined up, ready with their submissions.
Happy to be proven wrong. And then it is open for what sounds like quite a long time. It's open until the 13th of September, which, like I say, it sounds like a long time away. But these things take time to put together, and then everyone goes off for their summer holidays. So try not to put it off. We'll see if we can get some in nice and early rather than waiting for the deadline. But you do have until 13th of September.
Well, so we've given people those really important dates. And I think you, Simon, have talked a little bit about the kind of value of the competition. But Lyndsey's just also mentioned that it is actually a lot of work for people to submit to something in addition to everything else they're doing. So why should people take part in the competition? What's in it for them?
Well, personally, I find that people get different things out of it and have different reasons for taking part. We get feedback from people, and where we certainly hear different things. And what I think is it's really useful for people to get the work seen, keep reminding people about the work and its impact so it doesn't just get continually overlooked, especially while there's plenty of financial turbulence happening at the moment. What's your advice to people? Why do you think they should take part, Simon?
As you say, it's a perfect way of getting your work seen. So we've always focused on the work and on the people who do the work, and then you get this opportunity to say, and I don't think it's a huge amount of work to put a submission together, but it's certainly, you get to collate all of those thoughts, collect them together, and then you've got something you can present to the people you work with, perhaps the people who manage you and things like that, your university, your organization you work in. So you've got this nice little case study of like an effective bit of your work. And if it's one of those things that's getting overlooked already, it's really nice to have that to display. And then obviously being part of the competition, we talk about you. We put the competition entries up on the website. There's lots of there's lots more eyes on the work that you're doing. So it's just a brilliant showcase. And Lyndsey's making out the point about the financial situation of our sector at the moment. It's good to be able to display your worth and your value in your organization at the moment, and the competition gives you that.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. I was wondering, do you guys have any examples from past competitions of people who've won or who've done well and who've been able to use that victory in their own careers, whether for promotion or arguing for resources or anything like that?
Yeah, so without kind of going into names, because we have these things splashed on the website or our social media and everything. But again, these different reasons, but we've certainly heard from people that have said that the evidence of the impact of the overlooked work has been recognised by people at their institutions, which is fantastic. They're like, yes, we agree. This is good work. People have told us they've used it to support funding applications, which is pretty huge, especially in the financial times that we find ourselves in. One person told us that they used it as evidence for a successful promotion, which is obviously fantastic. It's helped get people's work selected as a ref impact case study. And then I think probably, this is personal opinion, but one of the most important things is that given the motivation and morale boost. So we heard from two different people using those words, that it motivated either them or their team and gave them that morale boost because they've realised that the not traditionally submitted outputs are actually valued and appreciated by others.
that is the biggest thing for me. I really think, because it's more than just a couple. I mean, I've talked to lots of people who have said that just being part of the process, seeing all the other people who are submitting, seeing the excitement around the competition, it makes you think, well, things are changing. Maybe they could change at my organization as well. And you get that sort of enthusiasm and the impetus to go and try and change things. And we've heard about people, engaging in community, like committees, and pushing for change within their organizations, just because they know they're not alone. And that's one of the big problems with being stuck in a hidden role, or, you working on outputs that don't get recognition. You often think, well, it's just me, but it's not. It's a lot of people all around the country in exactly the same situation. And when you feel part of that community, you're sort of empowered to go and change it.
Well, yeah, I hadn't really thought about that fact. Obviously, people go around and they talk to us about the impact that's had, but by other people telling the rest of the research community about the impact it's had, or just that morale boost, then gives other people the confidence in their work as well, which is no small thing.
Yeah, it feels like one of the sort of important unseen results of the Hidden Ref, perhaps, that it contributes to a culture where people are excited about their work and excited about sharing it with others. We've talked about sort of what individuals might get out of the competition, but I imagine the Hidden Ref campaign isn't necessarily running it just out of the desire to help individual people get promoted, but instead there's a kind of bigger culture change impetus behind it as well. And I was wondering, you've said this is the third time. So what's come out of the first two? What have we seen as a result of those initial competitions?
I mean, as Simon first of all said, that the competition was supposed to be the one and only, that was the Hidden Ref. So I suppose one of the biggest things that has happened is the fact that that competition started the whole Hidden Ref campaign. It got lots of people talking, lots of organisations and networks joining us as supporters, and basically led to all of the current work that we do.
Yeah, I think that's it. It was the start of everything. So so everything that we've done and managed to change already in the way that the culture is around research assessment, the culture is around submitting, recognizing not traditionally submitted outputs. You could trace it all back to the competition, and it was. I mean, there was an interesting. We had a committee meeting once with the Hidden Ref committee after we'd done the competition, and then people kept getting in touch and kind of like, "What are you doing next?" It was like, well, when we hadn't planned to do anything, so I don't know. We could have a workshop, and we'll do a festival, and like we're just coming up with ideas, and it was that stage, and we're in this committee meeting, and I was like, we are now very much in the business of research culture change, aren't we? And that was quite a cool feeling actually, because everybody's like, yeah, because we thought we were just making a point, but no, we weren't. We were starting what will hopefully be a change, and a marked change in research culture.
You must have been torn with that feeling, like thinking that you've done this great thing and moving on, and people getting in touch, what's next? And you're like, this is fantastic. And then, oh God, we're all doing this in our spare time. How on earth are we going to do that? So, I would have felt torn completely if I was here in that time.
So I think the best place maybe to end then today is to talk a little bit about what the competition looks like on the ground. So we've already talked about the deadlines, but maybe Lyndsey, can you remind us what are the important dates we need to be remembering?
Oh, so yeah, we've mentioned the dates. So obviously the submissions open today, and then they close on the 13th of September. After it closes, there's not anything massive that you guys need to remember, because we do some hard work in the background, download everything, get them ready, allocate them to our panels, which we've been building in the background for them to review. Then they select some winners, and then we celebrate everyone, not just the winners. Please listen to that very carefully. We are all about celebrating every single thing that has went into our competition. And that'll be at an awards ceremony in November. So you would think that I could give you a date for that, right? But no, we have not yet pinned down a date in November for the awards ceremony. So watch this space.
Oh, we got
you always want to leave people wanting more. And Simon, if people are thinking of submitting, they've heard us, they're really excited. What does a submission to the competition look like?
So this is the change. In the past, we used to just have give us a summary, and then give us a summary of why this work has been overlooked, or your role has been overlooked. But now it's a summary, and we're also talking about, tell us about the novelty, the significance, and the rigor. right? And that's to give people an opportunity to practice writing about those things for the actual ref. It also gives us a really key bit of data, which is if somebody's going to submit an NTO, how do they support the novelty, significance, and rigor as required by the ref? So we might be able to draw guidance from that for future, for the ref submissions themselves, but also for future competitions, because we've got an opportunity to have one more competition before the actual ref. So this is going to be a really interesting. We're going to watch the panels doing the assessments, and we're going to write about that and understand how they were coming to their conclusions and publish all of that in plenty of time for people to pick up on that guidance for their ref submissions themselves. And then we'll do it again in 2020. What will it be? 8.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically what a submission is going to be. Relatively straightforward, we hope, to put together. It's not going to be like taking part in the ref. We're not going to, hope that people drop 40 million into the creation of these submissions. But it will give you the practice of submitting an NTO, and just that chance, as Lyndsey was saying at the start, it's every now and again it's useful just to step back and go, well, actually, what is the work that I'm doing? How am I going to argue that it has value and worth in research? And it gives you that opportunity to sort of collect your thoughts and write something up on that front.
Yeah, I really like this change that we have introduced this year, because basically use it as a practice, right, for your rep submission. And yeah, we're saying that it's going to take your time, and it's not to scare you about the fact that it's going to take so much time, but we just realize this is usually over and above. But kind of to talk about a submission as well, we are still trying to keep it simple as possible. There'll be a simple form that you include all the information that Simon has mentioned. And we give people the option to send different media types to us by email as further evidence as well, because we realise that using words to describe some not traditionally submitted outputs doesn't really work, and they want to send us, a video or some images or plenty of different other things. So we try to make it inclusive in that way. And to align more closely with the ref, an additional thing that we're asking for people to do is to give us relevant links to your outputs or DOIs where appropriate as well.
And this is, we've always felt sympathetic to the ref because we're big ref supporters, but this is where we feel really genuinely sympathetic for the ref as people start sending us diverse outputs of all different types, links to store, things that we have to understand. Well, how are we going to share this with the panelists? So we're going to be dealing with some of those problems as well. And again, although it's a bit of a nightmare for us, it's the solutions we come up with, we will share, and other people can hopefully benefit from that too. So it really is, it's a dry run of everything from writing a submission right through to the assessment to even the practical stuff like, well, what do you send in? What links, what outputs? And I forgot to say as well, and everybody gets a certificate to say that they took part, and then all the winners get winner certificates. And I know that seems like a really facile thing, but genuinely, when you're working in these kind of fields where you're getting overlooked and you'll get the recognition, very few people have something they can put up on the wall to mark that they did this work, and whereas you get lots of kind of things like that in a more traditional academic role. So I think it's a really key thing. So people walk up to your desk and say, well, what's this about? And it gives you that opening to go and talk about your work.
Oh, I fully agree with that, because I've got a trophy back there, and unfortunately I work from home all the time, so no one really gets to see my trophy, but you guys can ask any time if you want me to tell you about that trophy.
Lyndsey, what's the trophy about?
Oh God, I'd actually go and have to read it. That was for my outstanding contribution to the RSE community. Excellent. Which I've handed over that good work to Michael, so maybe he'll win one in the future as well. I know what I wanted to say there actually was that, Simon's mentioned that it can be hard work for us in the background to kind of gather this and change it and pass on all the information to the right people. But the fact is, if we're going to do this thing, we want to do it right. So it's hard work, but it's well worth it.
Yeah, and I can say as a former competition entrant who did indeed have the certificate hanging up on the wall of my office, it's a really nice thing to get to look at, and it really does kind of provide a little bit of a boost when you're like, I worked so hard on this thing, and someone, in this case, the hidden ref, has recognized it. So
I didn't know
fully co-signing that.
I didn't know that.
Michael. Yeah, I know. I feel like we should put that disclaimer. He was not a committee member. He wasn't even.
Yes, I was not working for the ref at the time.
Okay. Oh, brilliant. Well, that's some good lived experience right there. Perfect.
Exactly. Well, thank you guys so much. It's been great to hear a little bit more about the competition. I'm so excited that it's open and we get to start seeing people's submissions now. So I think I'll turn it back to Simon to finish us out for the day.
Yeah, well, welcome to the podcast, Michael, and thank you, Michael and Lyndsey, for a wonderful discussion about the competition. If you want to pick up this podcast, you can get it wherever you get your normal podcasts, and also on YouTube. If you've got any questions for us, if they're hidden ref competition related questions, you can check out the FAQ and the website first of all, but you can certainly still get in touch with us. There's contact addresses on the website for the competition, and if you want to talk about the podcast itself, it's wtref@hidden-ref.org. And with that, I'll say goodbye.
Thank you.